This lesson 26 is going to be dealing with a little bit more about working certain operations with rational numbers. This is going to be a very short lesson. The method in which we deal with these types of rational numbers is practically identical to how we did it with the integers themselves. Let's start off with the first one. First question here. What is the difference between minus 4.6 and minus 1.3? We could simply rewrite that over here. Difference is the clue. It tells us we're going to have a subtraction problem. And remember, when it's asking you the difference between the two different numbers, it's always the second number subtracted from the first. So if we rewrite this, minus 4.6, and what we're going to do is be subtracting minus 1.3. At this point, it would be helpful to make use of our algebraic quality in that instead of using a subtraction problem here, it would probably be better for us to treat this as an addition problem. So we're going to go ahead and switch this to an addition problem. And remember, for every subtraction problem, there is a corresponding addition problem that will give you the same answer. So we just need to make sure that we follow that pattern. First of all, you take what's to the left, the number to the left of your minus sign, your subtraction sign, which is negative 4.6, and you keep that the same. So there's our negative 4.6. We then change our subtraction sign here to an addition sign. And then we take this number over here and we take the opposite of it. Well, what is the opposite of negative 1.3? Well, it's positive 1.3. Now, if we take these and combine them together, minus 4.6 plus a positive 1.3 is going to be a negative 3.3. A way of visualizing this is on the number line. Once we've reached this point here of rewriting this subtraction problem as an addition problem, think of a number line. Minus 4.6 is over to the left of the 0. And you're starting at that point, and now you're adding 1.3 to it. Or are you adding to the right of 4.6, or are you adding to the left? Well, you're adding it to the right because you're adding a positive 1.3. And remember, on a number line, when you add numbers or when you go toward the right on the number line, you're making the number bigger. So there's our answer there, minus 3.3. Next, what is the product of minus 1.5 and 2.0? Well, let me go ahead and just get this line here first to separate them a little bit. For this one, let's go over here and write it. 2.0 and 1.5. Well, if we come over and rewrite 1.5, and remember that's a minus there, it's a negative, and we're going to multiply that times 2.0. We had zeros all the way across there. We start by bringing down a 0. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry the 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus the 1 we carried is 3. Then we add up. Oops, that should be a 3 there, not a 0. Then after we add up, we need to place our decimal point in the correct position. We come up here and we count to the right of our decimal place how many place values or how many places there are in each of the numbers combined. Well, in 1.5 there's one place value to the right, and in 2.0 there's one to the right. So in both of these numbers combined we have 2 places to the right of the decimal point. So we come down here to our answer and we move our decimal point to the left twice. Our answer is then 3.00, which is simply the same thing as just 3. However, what we did is we multiplied a negative times a positive. Well, when you multiply a negative times a positive, your answer is negative. So our answer for this one is negative 3. Minus 1.5 times a positive 2 is a minus 1.3. The multiplication symbol there. Even though it's algebra, we'll go ahead and write it because this is the method of long division that you did earlier on. So we'll go ahead and break our rule here and stick that x in there for a multiplication symbol. Lastly, what is the quotient of negative 6.4 and negative 1.6? Well, let's just go ahead and write it out. There's your 6.4, and we got a negative. And there's our division sign. And then there's our 1.6 with a negative. Now remember, just like in multiplication, once you get the problem set up, you can ignore the signs for now. Once you get this division problem set up, we just go ahead and divide now by ignoring whatever the positive and negative signs are. So we're going to simply divide 6.4 divided by 1.6. I'm not going to bother going through moving my decimal point over to the right and going through that. It's going to take a little too much time. It's just enough to say that our answer for this particular question of 6.4 divided by 1.6, and actually I put the decimal point in the wrong place there. The decimal point moves over one. So I guess I really should have done that. It doesn't belong there. This gets moved over here. Now our decimal point comes straight up with 0 left over down here. So we had 6.4 divided by 1.6, and we got an answer of 4. Question is that a positive 4 or a negative 4? Well, if we take a look at our division problem, it's a negative 6.4 divided by a negative 1.6. We have a negative divided by a negative. What does that tell you your answer always is? Positive. Anytime you divide positive by positive, your answer is positive. Anytime you divide a negative number by a negative number, your answer is also positive. And then lastly, just as a quick review, the product or quotient of two rational numbers that have the same sign is found by multiplying or dividing their absolute values together, with the answer always being positive. Then on the flip side, if the product or quotient of two rational numbers having opposite signs is found by multiplying or dividing their absolute values together, with the answer always being negative. So as you can see here, there's not much, if any, difference between multiplying, dividing rational numbers in comparison to integers. You use the same types of rules as far as positive times positive, positive times negative, negative times negative, and the same with the division as well. Okay, that'll finish up session 26.